Hi everyone, welcome to Chess Comic, where we learn, laugh, and checkmate. For today's video, we're going to learn the famous opera game played by Paul Morphy. Paul Morphy is considered as the first unofficial world chess champion, unofficial because there was no world chess championships during his time, champion because he was unbeatable. Anyway, without further ado, let's start with the game. So here, Paul Morphy is playing white, and he started with e4. The opponent played e5, and then he played knight f3, and pawn to e6. So this is the Philidor's defense. Black created a pawn chain to have a much solid center, and as well as open up its light square bishop. So here, Paul Morphy played pawn to d4 to break the chain and also threatening to win a pawn. White has two attackers, while black has one defender. The best move for black here is to just simply take the pawn and then develop, and castle. But the opponent played bishop to g4. So Paul Morphy played d takes e5, and the opponent played bishop takes f3. So this is considered or called an intermediate move or in-between move. So let's try to go back. Capturing the pawn right away is wrong for black because white has queen takes d8. After black captures back, there's knight takes e5, and white is just winning here. So let's go back again, where black played bishop takes f3 first, and Paul Morphy played queen takes f3. And let's try to go back again. Here, let's discuss a bit. So white has two options, to take with a queen or to take with a pawn. So taking with a pawn is creating a double pawn, and a double pawn is considered as a bad pawn structure because they can never protect each other. Although there is always an exception to the rule or to a theory, and the great Bobby Fischer gave a lecture on this position. After black captures back, in which he's logically forced to win back the pawn, there's queen takes, and white plays f4 to undouble his pawns. Black captures back, bishop captures back, and white has a clear advantage due to the fact that it has a pair of bishops. So in the higher level of chess, masters prefer a pair of bishops. Masters prefer the bishops because the bishop has a longer range compared to a knight. So let's go back to what happened to the game. So queen takes f3 was played, which is for me is logical. I would have also played queen takes f3. I capture back and then I develop my queen at the same time. And black captures back. White played bishop to c4. Can you spot the threat? Yes, of course. The threat is the scholar's mate pattern. So here, actually, I find it funny because the opponent was probably thinking, hey, I'm not doo-doo. I know how to defend the scholar's mate, and he played knight f6. White continued by playing queen to b3, threatening the pawn on f7 and e7. So white is not only threatening f7 here, okay? I mean, not only threatening to capture f7, but threatening to checkmate in 2. So let's just say black plays pawn to b6. White plays bishop takes f7. The king can either go to e7 or d7, which doesn't really matter because there will be queen e6 checkmate. So let's go back, 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 back. The opponent played queen to e7 to defend f7. Here, if I was the one playing for white, I would have just simply captured the pawn on b7 to win a pawn. If you guys are thinking that we're also going to win the rook, there's a reason why black played queen to e7 because of this one, queen to b4, forcing a queen trade. Queen takes, bishop takes check, and black is threatening to capture our pawn on e4. So we need to play a move that will force the bishop to run away. Of course, the bishop will have to go back to a safe square. It could be c5, any safe square, but let's just choose d6 because it creates a solid structure. And now white can defend by playing knight to d2. It's development and defending at the same time. In which I can say that white is winning here because there is no compensation for the lost pawn of black. So let's try to go back to what happened to the game. Here, Paul Morphy played knight to c3. So he's not just only looking to win a pawn. So there's a reason why Paul Morphy is Paul Morphy. There's a reason why Paul Morphy is the best player during his time. He always wants to play a brilliant king. So he developed his knight, and here the opponent was probably happy because he was given a chance to protect his pawn, right? And when white played knight c3, white also has two squares to jump. So black played pawn to c6, defending and defending. So it was a successful defense for black. But Paul Morphy just knows what to do. He just simply developed his bishop to g5, to pin, and let's pause. Here, white has actually developed 3 of its minor pieces, while black has only developed 1. White has developed its queen, and black has also developed its queen, but it is blocking the bishop's path. So technically, white is just much better when it comes to the piece development. And also, the white king has an option to castle on either side, while the black king is still in the middle. So now it's black's turn to move. I was trying to think on how the opponent, or I was trying to figure out on how the opponent was thinking in this position. So I came up to a theory that he knows that his queen is tied up to defend the f7 pawn, right? That's why he played pawn to b5. Now, in this position, if I was one playing for white, maybe without thinking, without flinching, I would have just moved the bishop back to d3 or maybe e2. I mean, just to put it into safety because it's under attack, right? But in chess, if you know that your pieces are all active, right? You can play a brilliant move, which is a sacrifice. So here, white played, or Paul Morphy played, knight takes b5, bang. Of course, black has to capture back. And then bishop takes b5, and here, black has an option to move the king or to block with the knight, right? If black plays king to d8, white will just castle and then has a strong attack on the king. So here, the opponent played knight bd7 to block. I mean, if you're thinking to use the other knight, it's wrong because the black queen falls. So knight bd7 was played, and look at both of the knights. They're both pinned, right? And as per Fun Mastermind, the famous Fun Mastermind, he said, what do we do with a pin piece? We put PP on the PP. So white played a long castling to PP on the PP. Oh, by the way, let me just make things clear. we're not talking about the stinky P here, okay? It's actually an acronym, which means put pressure on the pin piece, okay? Now, so white is running to capture the knight on d7, in which, of course, if the queen captures back, there's a bishop that will capture the queen. If the knight captures back, then the bishop captures the queen. So regardless, black loses material or loses its queen. So black needs a what? An additional defender. And as per the famous Gotham chess, he sacrifices the rook on d7. Again, the knight captures back, queen falls. The queen captures, queen falls. So the reason why the rook moved to d8 is to capture back. And the rook is pinned again. So what do we do with a pin piece? Put PP on the PP. And this was played by Paul Morphy, by the way. And now white is threatening to capture d7 again. And the only way for black to use the other knight, this knight, to capture back is to move the queen out of the way, right? That's why here black played queen to e6. So he's not only trying to move his queen out of the pin, but he's also trying to trade off queens, in which, when you're under attack, you want to reduce the tension, right? So you want to trade off pieces. So if you are the one who's attacking, the theory is don't trade, maintain the pressure. So here, white played bishop takes d7. Bloop. Black is logically forced to capture back with the knight because it is a fork, right? So the knight takes, and in this position, it was well set up where white can already force a checkmate in 2. If you spot the checkmate in 2, don't forget to laugh before you checkmate. And Paul Morphy played queen to b8. Bang! The knight is forced to take. And here goes checkmate on d8. So, takeaway here. The takeaway in this game is if you're able to develop all of your pieces, you have more control of the board or the game, and you will be able to just sacrifice to create a strong attack to your enemy king that's in the middle. So guys, if you learned from this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Till next time. Bye bye.